I am Neil Arthos. I am the next Abdullah, and we're going to make you the next Neville Goddard. Okay, but in all seriousness, guys, this is a series called Manifestation Receipts, and it's exactly what it sounds like, where I give you success stories of me using the law. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've gotten into law of assumption already for 2 years. I dive deep these past 24 months. And I'll tell you one thing, it is getting to the point where I'm a little scared because this shit works. So, in another episode of Manifestation Receipts, I'm going to tell you how I manifested a whole rotation of women during one of the worst sex droughts that I've had in a while. So, without further ado, let's get into this success story. So, if you have a cold drink, shout out to Athena Raven. She always says, "Get your hot drink. Are you ready?" I fucking love that girl. But she's taken, so I'll be quiet. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, like I said, I was going through a drought, okay? And if you guys don't know what the hell that means, well, a drought, like, you know, there's no rain on the crops. I was not getting any moisture on my crops, okay? Look, this past year, I started this channel, and I've really been focusing on work. And the thing about me, and maybe this is an assumption of mine, but whenever I work, I pinpoint my focus on the work and practically on nothing else. I hardly even have time for family. And there were a lot of girls who I was talking to, which, by the way, I'm single. You know, yes, ready to mingle, but not ready to mingle with just one, okay? I like me my fun. Let's just put it that way, folks. Don't judge me, okay? Call HR. So either ways, there was some girls in my orbit, right? But it got to the point where I either pushed them away with my absence, or because I didn't focus so much on dating to begin with, I basically ejected myself from the game to begin with. But there were a couple of times, even in the midst of me being this workaholic, starting this YouTube channel, and because I also have another job too, where I'm a manager at a restaurant, I still wanted my fun every now and then. But just like the way a boxer hasn't been in the ring in years and he comes out of retirement, I felt a little rusty. And where I would typically get dates easily, I was noticing more flaky behavior from women and not returning calls, ghosting. Halloween came early, right? And it eventually became clear that I was living in the assumption that, or I was living in the reflection where I can't get any, okay? To say it plainly, I can't get the pussy, right? That's what was being reflected back to me in my 3D circumstances. But because I knew the law, I knew that this wasn't final. I knew that this wasn't the end of the world, but I knew something was up with my assumptions. So what I started to do is go back to my beginnings. Because again, when you are so focused on work, it's so easy for you to lose sight of the fundamentals sometimes. Even the best Abdullahs out there fuck up. And I started remembering, okay, well, how did I even get in the predicament where I was manifesting all these SPs out of thin air, right? my ex, who I thought would never come back, came back, and every single time that we saw each other, we would make out, right? Girls who, at the beginning, I had like this huge crush on, and now they were chasing me in the end, right? This was the cycle that I was seeing. How did I get to that point? Well, I rewinded the tape, and I saw that in those moments, because there, like I said, there was SPs who I worked with, and again, call HR, right? There were SPs that I worked with where they were the hottest girl at the workplace. All the guys were chasing him. And all it took was for me to say to myself, oh, this girl's easy. I can get her in like that, like in a snap of a finger. And within weeks, like I think I've already made the video of this one girl, I called her Tiki, where within a few weeks, she started chasing me. And even when she said that she only dates tall guys, me being 5'7", all of a sudden, I'm the one who she's sucking the fuck out of his tongue. And I was sucking the fuck out of hers. Okay? Dodging bullets from human resources. Her texting me saying, I don't like to see whenever you're flirting with other girls. And we were not even together. And at the beginning, this was the girl that all the guys wanted. But how did I get there? Whether it was her or whether it was the other 4 SPs before her, it was that I had a strong concept of self, okay? Like I say in all these videos, how can you expect your SP to love you if you don't love yourself? How can you say SP is obsessed with me if you're not obsessed with yourself? Right? So when I look back and I saw that my concept was great, I started going back to what I've called in all my videos self-pedestalization. Okay? And like I said, you're probably saying, well, Neo, how if this is really a technique of yours, why weren't you using this to begin with? Because like I said, a lot of times when we get what we want, we start becoming complacent. Just like they say, when you get in a relationship and the honeymoon phase is over, you stop taking her out, you stop being the mysterious guy who she's infatuated with. Eventually she knows all your secrets, right? And then you stop being the guy who she fell in love with. Well, that's what basically happened with me. I lost my sense of self. But literally within 2 weeks, I went from getting no pussy to, I kid you not, I felt claustrophobic to the point where I had to start flaking on dates. Okay? This is what I did after that long-ass fucking monologue. I started saying things like, everywhere I go, they lay the fucking red carpet for me. I started saying some crazy shit like, all the women at my workplace have a life-size poster of me on their wall, and they bow down and worship it every single day. All my SPs are satellites in my solar system, but I'm fucking gravity. All my SPs are flowers in my garden, but I'm the fucking sun. I kid you not. Look, a lot of people talk about robotic affirming. Like I've always said, robotic affirming makes you a robot. I just said this maybe a couple of times. The whole affirmations about the sun and the fucking having a life-size poster on the wall and they bow down and worship it. I created that just, I think, 2 months ago. And I remember only saying it for a couple of days. At most, maybe a week. And then after that, I started getting complacent again and stopped saying it. But that is all it took, because within days, 2 new employees in my workplace. And again, again, you can judge all you want, okay? I work 80 hours a week. I'm not going to go to the fucking club, okay? Fuck you, okay? Call HR. 2 new employees started working with us. And all of a sudden, they started just giving me these choosing signals where I would catch them staring at me. One of them started getting jealous because I was talking to the other. Next thing you know, we start seeing each other. And you already know what the hell was going on. And then, if that's not enough, where I used to be a guy where even when I started having success with manifesting SPs before this drought, I never would cold approach. And all of a sudden, you want to talk about inspired action? I started noticing that without even trying, I would just cold approach girls. And my shooting percentage from the field was Steph Curry numbers, baby. There was a woman who, okay, this is another success story, but again, this is part of the rotation of ladies that I manifested. There was a woman who, after I went to get my hair cut, I was leaving the barber, and I saw her heading to her car, right? And she looked exactly like this customer who I would always, be friendly with at the restaurant that I work at, right? But she was still kind of afar, but we're always friendly with each other. So I decided to, let me say what's up. So I rolled down my window and I'm like, man, I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? And then she looks at me and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't speak English. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why is she doing this? And then I'm like, wait, what? And then she gets closer to my window, and then I realize it's not even the fucking lady. It's somebody 10 times hotter. And she's bending over, okay? And let's just say I was enjoying the fuck out of the view. And instead of me being the old Neo who doesn't cold approach, one of my assumptions, the old Neo would have been like, okay, I don't want to bother her. Okay, I just embarrassed myself thinking that she was this customer who I didn't even know. She's a hot woman. I don't want to risk rejection, right? Even when I started having success with SPs, I didn't have the balls to just cold approach like this. But there she was, walking 10 yards from where she was just to see what I needed. Boobs hanging out. And instead of being a horny little teenager, I was like, I didn't even think. It just fucking like a fart that came out of your ass when you just were drinking 4 cups of coffee. I was like, do you have a husband? And she was like, no, I'm single. And I had my phone right here to my left. And to be honest, the only thing that I did was I did fumble it a little bit because maybe there was a little bit of nerves. Okay, come on. All right, give me a chance here, okay? It was my premiere at the academies, right? But I get my phone out and I get it to the phone dial page on my iPhone. And I'm like, here, give me your number. She gives me her phone and it's already on her contact page. She was ready with the counter. I went from not having the balls to cold approach to my first cold approach in centuries. And I win the fucking Super Bowl. And me and this woman are now seeing each other. And again, I like what I'm seeing. So that's her. And then that's the other 2 co-workers, which you guys will report to HR about. And then there was 3 others who, one of them I met online and we've been seeing each other lately. And then there's 2 others who basically came out of thin air. And I did not do 50 sat sessions. I did not sit in a pentagram of candles visualizing in a theta state. All I did was realized that I was God, and that whatever I speak out of my mouth, whether it's out loud or right up here, that is who I am. And this is why I say crazy things like my SPs are flowers in my garden and I'm the fucking sun. Because it's going to get the attention of your subconscious way more powerfully than if you just say that SP loves me or that I'm in the relationship of my dreams. Think about affirmations like, and I don't even like to call them that, but think of affirmations like if you are in poetry class. Imagine if your poetry teacher told you to write a poem and everybody else is pouring out their heart out, but you read your poem and maybe he told you, okay, the subject is about flowers. And everybody has like these very creative ideas in their poem and they really are passionate about the way that they express themselves in their poetry. But in yours, you just go, flowers. I like red flowers. I like red flowers in the sun. I put red flowers in my vase. Flowers, flowers, flowers. It's like your poetry teacher would be like, get the fuck out of here. That's the way you have to see your affirmations. Like if you are presenting in front of a class and they're falling asleep and they're like, oh my gosh, bro, when the hell is this guy gonna shut up? Or everyone's on their phone when you're listening your affirmations. But if you went up in front of the class and you're like, every single time that me and my ex make eye contact, she orgasms in her pants. I remember with an SP a year ago, it was this girl who I had a relatively big crush on. I wasn't too hung up on her, but I was barely getting into affirmations. And I just said, okay, she's gonna be my guinea pig. I'm gonna try this out on her. All I did was every single time that we worked together, because she would never look my way. She practically didn't even know I existed, right? We're just coworkers, never would talk. I would never approach her. All I would say is that whenever she goes to work, she takes 5 pairs of panties with her in her purse because she can't stop cumming her pants when she thinks about me. And she would never even talk to me, bro. And within weeks, all of a sudden she adds me on social media. She starts making these random excuses to talk to me at work. One thing led to another, and she became a makeout buddy in the storage room. Okay? I can't make this shit up, guys. Okay? What the crazy part about when I've done affirmations, and of course, I will be honest, maybe it is different for everybody, but I don't know if it's just because they're so extreme and intense and they go way overboard, but I've only had to say them a couple of times and I see the results reflect back to me like that. Now, I'm a scientist in the lab. We're still tweaking everything and testing all the molecules to make sure to really understand the DNA of this matter, but I have a strong hypothesis that when you make your affirmations so fucking extreme that they surprise you, your subconscious has no choice but to wake up. Like I've said so many times, think of your subconscious like a fat guy at the front desk who only eats donuts and is on his phone. He's going to need a bomb to go off to get his attention. Saying that your SP takes 5 pairs of panties to work every day because she can't stop going to the bathroom to masturbate it when she thinks of you, that's a fucking bomb. And here's why. It would be different. This is why those affirmations work so greatly. Because look, it would be different if, since the very beginning of our lives, all we would do is sing our praises. Even if we got an F on our report card. No, I'm the smartest motherfucker in the world. Even if we got rejected. She's just so damn intimidated by me. She can't even resist me. If you always reversed everything into your favor, then saying stuff like that would feel natural to you. It would not be as surprising. But even when people are complimenting us, we still say, no, I think I look ugly. I mean, how many times do you hear a woman, like whenever you try to tell her that she looks great, she's like, nah, but I know I weigh 20 pounds, but I still look fat. It's like, what the what are you, do you know how mirrors work? Even when you are having a great career and you're making 2 times as much money that you were making last year, you still are looking for, okay, but no, something must be wrong. This is too good to be true. You know how crazy it is when things are going great and you can see it right before your eyes, and yet you still say, this is too good to be true. Don't blaspheme yourself. Now, if you guys want to know other techniques that would work, I mean, I could give you visualization techniques. I have other videos on my channel about that. Just watch my video called Visualizations Do Not Need to Be 4K 1080p Resolution. That is the best video on YouTube about visualization because it gets right to the basics. But I'll tell you this, you want to get to the point where all you have to do is say it once. All you have to do is think it. All you have to do is fart in your brain a sensation, a little intuition that you are that motherfucker who has the infinity gauntlet of SPs. You are that woman who attracts every single guy whenever you walk down the street or whenever you walk into the restaurant or walk into the club. You are the sexiest motherfucker on the planet. All you have to do is say it once, and that is what you will get reflected. You want to get to that point. But if I had to choose a technique out of all the list of techniques that you can use, it would be self-pedestalization affirmations, where don't just say you're the best, don't just say that you're in the relationship of your dreams, but say that you are in such a beautiful relationship that People magazine is interviewing you and her because they want to know what makes you guys so fucking amazing together. I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.